Welcome to Sales Accelerators, Winning Strategies for Financial Professionals, an educational webinar series that explores the latest tools and concepts to help boost your sales performance and drive business growth. Join us as we analyze trending topics in life insurance, investigate the latest headlines, and discuss solutions to accommodate your clients' unique needs. Please welcome your host, Kurt Fasen, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Sales Accelerators. My name is Kurt Fasen, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at DBS, and we're excited to have you with us again today. Now, today's webinar is going to focus on some practical insights into the advances in technology, where we are today and where things are headed next. So to give us some information about this, I'm pleased to have two of our leaders from DBS join us today. First, I want to welcome Leah Mahoney, Executive Vice President of Operations. Leah, welcome.
Thank you, Kurt. So happy to be here.
Absolutely. And also I want to introduce Jason Thompson, Assistant Vice President of IT. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Kurt. Very excited to share my knowledge.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's dig in. Within the broader focus of technology, both of you are going to be talking about a very hot topic, not just about the insurance industry, but it's really everywhere, and it's become a buzzword, and that's AI, or artificial intelligence. No matter where you are in your understanding of this, it's not going away. So let's get started to learn more there. Jason, I'm going to start with you. You've been in the industry for quite a while and have experienced a lot of change during that time. So to set the stage, can you talk a little bit about how technology has changed over time and how it's changed the advisor experience? And then maybe even focus on day-to-day work for our associates and how that's transformed. Jason?
Well, there's no question that technology continues to evolve. Things are almost unrecognizable to what I saw when I started at DBS 25 years ago. I think back of the computer room and papers and files shuffled around the office and attempting to share internal documents, even our website tools. Now everything is stored in the cloud and we don't even have any servers on site. We are as secure and flexible as ever thanks to this evolution in technology. DBS has always had a forward-focused lens on using the latest and greatest, which was a critical piece to our founder's vision of DBS, whether that be with a new vendor or developing our own solution. And we want to continue to use technology to our advantage. It improves what our associates experience, what our advisors experience, and of course, how the end customer views the process, making it faster and easier, and of course, more profitable. Carriers have definitely spent the last 10 years focusing on the customer experience and emphasizing digital accessibility, security, and customer service. In fact, we saw a big push happen during the COVID outbreak when there was a need for less contact and less face-to-face during the application process. Carriers moved quickly to enable people to move through the application process and manage their insurance needs in new ways using technology to their advantage. For example, we have accelerated underwriting, straight-through processing for the client. We have e-interview, instant decision, and e-policy deliver as some of those examples. We have seen an improvement in tracking and support capabilities, both from an internal perspective and from the platforms we use. And of course, internally, we have a robust CRM engaging with advisors, understanding their business, helping us track, follow up, and better serve our customers. One of the biggest evolutions in the last 25 years that DBS pioneered is the electronic application process. On the advisor side, running the quote and submitting the app electronically has never been easier. It reduces the need, cost, and time for paper applications or sending things through the mail. It's changed the application submission process completely.
Well, Jason, I so agree. I wonder how many people that are listening or joining us today on the webcast are thinking back the way I'm thinking. And I guess this will just make me sound old, but I think back to when I first started in the business more than 3 decades ago now. And everything that's changed from a technology standpoint. I mean, the fact that it was a big celebration the day we got our fax machine several years into the business. So we could fax apps in to where we've gone today. When you talk about electronic application process, it's kind of mind blowing. I mean, it's moving really quick. Don't you agree?
I do indeed. And as I said, DBS pioneers that, and it is a focus of our day-to-day operations.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's excellent. And in my mind, that really naturally leads us towards the buzzword AI and how AI is being applied in, well, let's just talk about the insurance world. Not necessarily a DBS, but more in general terms. Leah, I know you have a lot of exposure in the industry to that. Maybe you could give some insights to what you're seeing.
I would love to give some insights where we're seeing artificial intelligence, AI, being used across the board in the insurance industry. I kind of see it in right now about 4 buckets. The first is general office efficiency. I mean, people are using AI across the board to recap meetings, summarize notes, tools for project tracking. I mean, AI just brings those efficiencies in. If you have a meeting with several team members, you can have it track everything that was said and then pull out bullet points of what the next steps are. So you don't need to have someone taking notes physically during the meeting. It's just a streamline. We also see it a lot in customer service, chatbots that you're using, automatic emails that are coming out, not to mention, again, that summarization of voicemails or call summaries. I mean, AI can be used to summarize a call that you're on with a client and, again, pull out main points, give you a to-do list, or give you those items that you might have forgotten back by just looking at the call summary. It's like transcription on, we'll say, speed. I mean, it's a better option. It saves a lot of time. The marketing space within insurance also has a great opportunity to use AI and is using it very effectively. I mean, the initial design of PowerPoints, the ability to rewrite articles or to combine multiple articles or ideas into a new concept very rapidly is something that AI is excellent for and a huge time saver. Then 2 other very specific areas in the insurance industry are the streamlining of underwriting and case design or sales on that front end of comparing illustrations. We see many benefits there with just the increased efficiency, enhanced decision making to like flip through a whole lot of illustrations or a whole lot of information and come up with a recommended path. Of course, you still need people to make the final decision on that, but it's reducing a lot of cost and a lot of time, and it really improves the customer experience. Overall, we see insurance carriers looking to automate all of the tasks that they can to really save people to focus on things that only humans can do. I know among our carrier partners, we see all carrier partners using AI in some way, shape, or form, but a few that spring to mind that I know have been kind of at the front of that are LLIF. They've been using that for email box responses, kind of winnowing out those simple emails and responding very quickly, and then handing off more complex emails to people. Principal, I know, has a proprietary AI system that they use internally for tons of different things, and Securian is really exploring AI for underwriting efficiencies.
Those are great examples. And, it strikes me just earlier this week, I attended a conference and I tried an experiment. Nobody in the room knew I was trying this experiment, but it was the first time I'd gotten to a meeting and I didn't bring a notebook. And you've been to a lot of meetings with me. I always bring a notebook and a pen and I'm always writing my book. I brought none of it. All I brought was an app to do the AI summarization. And it was a little nerve-wracking. And what I found at the end was it was very efficient. I was able to take those notes, summarize them, kick them out to team members. I see this really, really helping us to become more effective and more efficient as we move forward and as we get more comfortable with these tools.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
So Leah, that's a lot going on. Maybe we could switch gears here and talk about what DBS's portion of AI is. And Jason, I'm going to start with you.
Excellent. Well, Leah mentions a lot of ways we're already using AI, and we've been doing it for probably a year and a half. And when we first started, I do recall we had a working group, and we all sort of looked at each other and said, artificial intelligence, what are we going to do? And no one had any idea how we were going to do it. So we knew that approach wasn't going to work. So instead, after that, we took a much more methodical approach to vetting and researching the platforms. Obviously, a lot of oversight by IT teams for clear rule setting and accountability. After that, one of the key pieces was a pilot program where we put a bunch of people in the room with someone who knew how to use AI better than us, and they started giving us examples, and it allowed us to start using ideas, hear what other people were going to start doing, and really advanced our knowledge quickly. Now, part of that, data integrity and security is of the utmost importance and will always continue to be. We limit the methods that will send our information out to the internet while still maintaining that power of artificial intelligence. So unless a platform has been fully vetted, it's not available for broad use, and it allows us to maintain data privacy of the client and advisor information.
Well, I mean, and we've talked about this. I think it's important. It doesn't matter what business you're in. We all have to be careful to not get overly excited with the new shiny object to the detriment of our clients. And so personally identifiable information, those type of things need to be safeguarded. And so I'm proud of the approach we're taking to make sure that, you know, we're maximizing the use where it makes sense, but we're not putting anything in jeopardy along the way. I also think it's important for advisors to know that their data is secure. Leah, maybe you talked earlier about how it's being applied in underwriting. So maybe you could dig down on that a little bit deeper. I think DBS is currently using a platform for underwriting. Maybe you could just explain that and talk about it from an efficiency standpoint.
Absolutely. So yes, DBS actually is using a platform called Pathwork, and it is an AI tool, a platform that we use to streamline the underwriting process. And to speak first to the idea of data security, we looked at several different vendors. I mean, as you can imagine, the marketplace is full of companies that are offering AI services, especially to insurance companies and BGAs, carriers, to help with the underwriting process. And we were very specific in the 4 or 5 companies that we looked at to make sure that they were SOC 2 compliant, that they had the highest data integrity, that it matched all of our expectations to keep that data secure. And we want to have always our client records as safe as possible. And Pathwork was able to meet all of those very high expectations that DBS has. And what we use Pathwork for primarily is summarization of underwriting data. It kind of goes to that whole idea that AI is this amazing tool that can summarize and pull together a ton of data, and then people make the decisions around that data. So our underwriters submit APSs, client information, they type in data, and the platform is able to pull all of that together and give us summaries and cover letters very, very rapidly. And by rapidly, I'm talking in a matter of seconds up to a few minutes to get that information. Yeah, it's amazing. And then our underwriters have the time to look at that summarization, make sure it's full. They look at the cover letter, they personalize it to their own preferences to make sure it's positioned correctly, that it tells the full story, that a computer program cannot tell the full story because, again, it's not human. But our underwriters can take that data and really just put the finishing touches on it while saving a lot of time. So they're focused on the great decision making. The AI platform also has some great knowledge assistance where we can plug in really quick questions. It pulls a lot of carrier data, and then will come back and give us, you know, input on different questions we have about where the types of ratings are or different impairments are, who's a carrier that we should look at that maybe we hadn't thought of. It's an incredibly flexible tool, and like all AI, it learns the more and more we and other customers put into it. It gathers that information and streamlines it. So through the ingestion of data, Pathwork becomes better, DBS saves time, and our advisors and the end client get a product sooner than they would in the past.
I love that. And you know, as a former advisor myself, one of the things that's always so troubling is you work so hard to with a client to really set a need and help them understand and then find what fits their plan from a holistic standpoint. And you go through all of that, and then you start the underwriting process. And then that feels like it goes for a lifetime sometimes. So it goes really long, and it doesn't really. Those of us that are behind the scenes know that it's going as fast as humanly possible. But when you bring tools like this, like PathWorks, like you just talked about, when you bring that in, that shortens that timeline, and it really is a benefit for each of you, all of you that are listening and watching. We're doing this for you because it allows us to mitigate that amount of time, and you can stay connected very quickly with your clients. So I'm very excited that we have that in our house here at DBS. Leah, thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
So Jason, let's move away from underwriting for a second and think about some of the other departments and teams. How are they using AI to help their parts of the organization work better?
Yes, exactly. First off, there are a lot of artificial intelligence vendors out there. I'm not going to name them all. You can go through, and they are very specific to maybe a need. But since DBS is a Microsoft organization, we have the advantage of using Microsoft Copilot, and it integrates into everything at DBS that is Microsoft. So if you're in Excel, you can have it build formulas, analyze your data, pivot tables, and the like. You can type all your questions in. You can use your microphone to ask it questions. PowerPoint, you give it an ideas, and it can transform those ideas into presentations and the slides. Very simple. It can go and analyze past PowerPoints or past info and really build a PowerPoint for today's presentation. Same with Microsoft Word, summarize and organize all your bullet points and information. So there's many tools from Microsoft that help a person organize their day, as Leah mentioned earlier, even just recapping their month, their day, or summarizing emails, and even writing pertinent responses. The marketing team at DBS was one of the first adopters of AI, using the Adobe platform with several built-in AI tools that enable them to work faster. What may have taken several minutes now can be done almost instantly, like touching up a photo or cleaning up a layout. The bottom line is, what we're not using AI for is to replace DBS employees. It still takes human interaction, but it saves a lot of time on the manual, mundane tasks.
You know, and that completely checks out, Jason. I was with a number of executives at an industry conference this week, and the topic of AI came up, and we talked about the fact that many organizations are using AI in some way, shape, or form. But the common thread that I heard in that conversation was they aren't eliminating people. They're actually enhancing work, right? They're helping people to stop doing the things that are just not super value added. And instead, they're bringing them up to a level, giving them the training or opportunities or whatever. So I would say not just here, but really those firms and companies that are really looking at AI for what it is, which is a tool that can help enhance your work product. I think that you're going to see that type of mindset throughout. Now, Leah, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you answer yes, then we literally are going to go buy lottery tickets. But I don't know if you have do you have a crystal ball?
No, I have a magic 8 ball. Does that count? I don't know.
No, I still have one of those too. That never really worked for me so good. I did a lot of crazy things based on what that thing said. But okay, well, let's just pretend for a minute you have a crystal ball. Kind of based on, and you do a lot of things in the industry, talking to other peers. Where do you see this going over the next couple of years? Do you have any insights of what you think AI and this type of advancement may do?
I do have some insights, just some personal thoughts on that. I mean, first, something that we all know and is so true in our industry is the only constant is change. I mean, we are always vetting new platforms, and these AI providers and the innovation that's coming out of there is going to continue to increase in pace. And it's going to be exciting. At times, it's going to be a little bit frightening for some people because change is always difficult, but there's a lot coming down there, the pipes for us in a good way. I mean, underwriting in particular is just going to move faster and faster. Within the next couple of years, even the most complex cases are going to be shortened by AI. Once medical records come more quickly through other digital pathways and can be moved without even having to get like a PDF or something like that. Imagine almost instantaneous decisions on those complex cases with just hundreds or even thousands of pages of records.
Yeah.
I mean, with case design, the ability to compare complex illustrations, multiple products, multiple carriers, and pull out key advantages for clients, I really see the change being in insurance advisors being able to interact differently with their clients, where they can bring even the most simplified bullet points of, we've talked about these products, and here is a very simple way to compare them. And advisors won't be spending their time pulling that data. It will be available for them to engage with their clients more and more about what their wishes and wants are and make that purchase process simpler. And in insurance, nothing is simple. So I'm very excited to see a few things become simple.
Yes.
I think the last thing that I really see changing in the near term is the ability to personalize and target communication. AI is so good on a marketing front and within the operations front for communications of improving tone, correcting grammar, streamlining the communication, pulling out a couple quick bullet points that we can target what advisors need and what end clients need in a way that's faster and better than ever has been around before. And that's really going to change the dynamic for us. So I'm really looking forward to it. The crystal ball would say all systems go.
I love it, Leah. And I agree with you. I do see this. I think a couple things. I think, first of all you said will continue. And I also think that AI will probably help us in ways we haven't even thought of yet to make us even more effective and more efficient going forward. All right, Jason. Now, we've got a number of people joining us today, either listening in their cars on the podcast or they're watching us on our webcast. I'd like you to put yourselves in their shoes for just a moment. And, if you're an advisor, what should you take away from this call? What's important information that will help them in their practices?
Well, DBS has always led the way in terms of technology, and this is no different. We're going to use these tools not only to make DBS more efficient, but to make the advisor more efficient. We're accepting that change is inevitable and evaluating how best to use this technology to our advantage. This doesn't replace human capital, as we mentioned earlier, but it is an additional ingredient to free up the time of our associates so they can perform higher level thinking and tasks for the advisor on a day-to-day basis. We are also very interested in bringing on vendors who have added AI to their processes and will make those tools available to the advisors. I think that will have an equally big impact in our day-to-day operations in making us more flexible to move in any direction at any time, and that's the key. AI isn't going away. It's no longer a keyword. It's a standard now, and we have to have a planful approach to keep our business goals intact, keep our data safe and secure, but also embraces a change that aligns with our goals and making DBS easier and more profitable for you, the advisor.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Thank you, Jason. As I listen to what we have done here at DBS, and I think about it in my days as an advisor, I think you need to do a few things. First, as Jason said, you need to accept the change. This is coming. It isn't something you get to opt out of. Well, I guess you could, but probably not wise. It's also not an attack on the human capital in your business. Instead, it's a way to transform your business in a way that will make you more efficient and more effective. So I would take time to look at your business. What are those mundane things? What are those things that maybe are not value drivers, aren't revenue drivers? Is there a way that those things can be leveraged with AI? Now, don't try to boil the ocean. There might be simple things, You heard things that you can use. I'm sure a lot of you use Microsoft. You heard all the things you can do with Copilot. Just to begin with, you can start doing that. Take baby steps, but pay attention. Jason said AI is no longer a buzzword. It is part of our lexicon. It is here. And, I, for one, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. This has really been a fascinating time, and I really think it's been time well spent. One thing's clear. AI, again, is not a future concept. It is a present day concept. What matters the most is not the technology itself, but how thoughtfully and responsibly it's applied. At DBS, our focus remains on using tools like AI to enhance the experience, not replace the advisor experience. That means leveraging technology and creating efficiencies and insights that support smarter decision-making while continuing to rely on the expertise and the relationships and the consultative approach that sets our team apart from others. So looking ahead, AI will continue to evolve. We're committed to staying curious, intentional, and aligned with what truly adds value for you and for your clients. We want to make sure that as these capabilities emerge, we'll continue to evaluate them carefully and then continue to make things easier and more profitable for you. That is our number one goal. All right, let's go back to our guest today for a final word. Jason, I'm going to start with you. Any final words for our audience today?
Absolutely. We have focused on technology in general, but here at the end, we really focused on artificial intelligence, and that's where my final comments will be. And you may wonder what your path is for artificial intelligence. The great thing is you're already using it in your personal life, in your work life, and it will only continue to be enhanced. One thing that is very important is to know not everybody will use AI in the same way. If you listen to other people, you say, well, that doesn't fit for me. That's why it's important to advance your knowledge in artificial intelligence and find out how it will fit for you.
I totally agree. Leah, any final words from you?
Yeah, I've got kind of closing thoughts on AI. AI is becoming the backbone of insurance operations. It enables faster and highly accurate decisions at scale for underwriting, case design, and all sorts of areas with personalized client experiences, which is speed and efficiency, which is excellent. But what's most exciting about it is that it frees the people up in our industry to focus on the complexity and those important customer relationships.
I absolutely agree. I hope that all of you today are taking a little bit more away from this conversation, not worrying about AI, but rather embracing it and seeing some of the examples of how we as a BG are using it and maybe spark some ideas for how you can use it as well. If you have questions and you'd like an opinion, we're not an AI company, but we are your partners and we're always here to help. Feel free to reach out anytime. Until next time, we look forward to seeing you in another Sales Accelerators right here. Take care, everybody.